However, there's some little known technology that the U.S. Postal Service applies to every piece of mail.
And then, so we have sort of the how. What's the next step in regards to tracking? Because that is a big part of this, right? Compared to the traditional method of doing where it's very hard to track, how do you streamline this process using your services, for example?
Yeah, great question. So there are a couple of elements to that. And so part of the way that we think about this, and going back to that email marketing model that we talked about in the beginning, we had built some email marketing tools, and we saw how email marketing could be effective and how easy it was, and the analytics that are readily available. And so when you think about it, there's tracking at the delivery level, right? So how many of my messages are getting through? How many of them are, bouncing? And so that's been a huge problem for direct mail traditionally, right? Like, most of the time, direct mailers, they send out campaigns and then, just wait for calls coming in or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And so, however, there's some little known technology that the U.S. Postal Service applies to every piece of mail that qualifies for a discounted kind of commercial machinable type of postage.
Okay.
And there's a program that they've built. It's called the Intelligent Mail Barcode. And it's their own internal tracking tool to kind of keep track of where all the mail is in this, massive distribution network that they've created. Mm-hmm. And it can be publicly available if you apply for a permit and you go through their process and kind of get your head wrapped around their 30-year-old software. You can access this data. And so what we've done is we've tied a contact that comes in from a third-party system like a HubSpot or a Salesforce or a Shopify, and we've tied a barcode to that contact in our software so that when the mailer goes out, we know that Francois is going to get this piece of mail with this barcode on it. And then as it is scanned through the entire process by the Postal Service, we're gathering that data and we're aggregating it in a dashboard that looks exactly like an email marketing dashboard. And we're telling you, where your mail is in the process. We're telling you what's been delivered, what's hit the Postal Service's return to sender scan, and we're updating your addresses and saying, don't send to this email, don't send to this physical address anymore. It's no good, right? Mm-hmm. Don't waste your money. And so, that whole idea of deliverability that you focus on in email marketing, now we're able to provide from a direct mail standpoint. The other key part of this is response, right? How are we going to capture the response metrics in some rational way? And so traditionally, this is something that is done by e-commerce players and retailers well after the fact. Sometimes 3-4 months later, they run these kind of big offline analyses that are called a matchback analysis to see, what's been sold versus who's been mailed to. But if you're trying to think of marketing in a digital way or in a multi-channel way, that doesn't cut it, right? You need data instantly. So we've created some technology that we brought forth from our first product that allows you to generate a unique QR code for each piece of mail that goes out. And so on that mailer that Francois is going to be sent with that unique barcode that is tracking where that postcard or letter is in the process, there's also a QR code that is the focal point of the call to action. And over the last few years, as you know, QR code usage has been exploding And
yeah.
people are so much more comfortable in the US using barcodes than they had been. And so all you got to do is get that mailer, point your camera at it, and you're off to the races. And so then we know, hey, it's Francois. He responded to this particular piece of mail at this time, at this date. Here's where he went on your site and whether or not he hit your conversion goal. So what you see, again, very much like email marketing, it's all bubbled up. We get great detail. We're able to take that data, sync it back into your CRM or your marketing automation tool. So then, hey, I can trigger a piece of mail on the day that piece of mail, I can trigger an email the day that piece of mail is delivered. And then the moment Francois hits his QR code, I can trigger maybe a text message to go out or a call from a rep or another touch that is pre-programmed in a workflow.